What is poppin', people? You got J-Bear here, bringing you all my Season 9 BBR Draft Analysis. If you've been watching the channel a little bit recently, you've known that we have been uploading NCP, and so that's been our Sunday, every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. The BBR will occupy a Saturday upload slot, also 11 a.m. Eastern. And compared to the NCP, we're going to be taking it a little bit more into my real prep side of things. NCP, I really enjoy just being able to be like, hey, we're in the battle, this is what we got, this is what they got, and just kind of run into it like that. But I think in the BBR, I will be highlighting my prep a little bit more so that you guys can get a better understanding of where I am at before all of my games, and hopefully that'll help you guys become better players as well. And so getting into the BBR rules, we are a 16 coach league this season, and we are picking at pick 4 out of 16. As you can see, we got 110 points to draft 9 through 11 Pokemon. And we have 28 post Terra tax Terra points to spend on 1 to 3 Terra captains. And you can Terra into anything. You just have to tell your opponent what you're Terraing into beforehand. So before I unveil my first pick, I'm going to ask that you like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Feel good, and comment if you be so obliged. I really enjoy responding to everyone's comments down below. And you can't see my first pick until you comment, so I'm giving you 3, 2, 1. Okay, so our first pick, Great Tusk with Terra. I don't know if it's not obvious on the slide, but yeah, we did Terra it for 20 points. The highest the Terra tax went up to is 23, so for 20, Great Tusk is kind of a steal to Terra. It was only 1 point of Terra tax, which very few Pokemon were, especially as high on the board as Great Tusk is. And so that led me down this rabbit hole of Terraing the Great Tusk. I worked with on this draft Burger, helped me out. He's been kind of a Terra Great Tusk advocate, especially in the last few seasons of just showdown leagues, and so that really swayed me to Terra my Tusk. I waited on it a little bit just in case some absurd Terra captain fell to me, but ultimately I was able to get Terra Great Tusk. So in its base form, it has an incredible offensive combo of ground and fighting, being checked by flying, but we have coverage for flyers in the Ice Spinner, even in Head Smash or Supercell Slam if I need a little bit more of a risky option. So, and we can also Terra out of this type. The 2 stabs are great, but plenty of defensive options to choose from, plenty of offensive options to choose from, plenty of defensive options that can also be offensive options, because Great Tusk has an incredible coverage suite, as well as a really solid physical defense. Can pretty much any week be a check to any physical threat that I want, most of the time even without committing the Terra, and if we really need to, we can commit the Terra, and oftentimes we will look to commit our Terra in a way that can both maximize our defensive and offensive capabilities. So look forward to seeing Great Tusk as a Terra captain this season. And just for the utility that it provides to the team, it's a rocker, it's a spinner. I really like having a really good rapid spinner. The things that I find make myself most successful in the Scarlet and Violet format are a good rapid spinner and then a really solid S or A tier speed option. I really think there's only 2 S tier speed options in Meowscarada, really S1, Greninja S-, and then I need at least an A tier speed option to pair with any given draft that I do. Otherwise, I don't think I came out of the draft successful. So we got one of the best Pokemon in the format. We got one of the best spinners in the format. Now we need to get our speed option, especially in 16 coaches. That speed dries up very quickly. So to pair with my Great Tusk, I got what I believe to be one of the more solid speed options in the format with Cinderace. So Cinderace at 15 points, I thought was pretty fair. It was, a notch or 2 below Meowscarada and Greninja, and even a notch below like Roaring Moon, Torn T, and Darkrai. So I figured that was pretty fair for Cinderace. This is another mon that I've seen been having a lot of success recently. Gives a strong physical presence, especially to pair with the Great Tusk. We right now really hate on Steel types, which I'm sure we can draft some Pokemon that don't like fighting Steel types. So, and what it also does is add like because Libero, we can have like Libero high jump kick, and so like fighting spam becomes a very reliable offensive pattern for this team. And we have utility options like court change if people want to try to, screens Chungus us. We have like U-turn for momentum, plenty of ways to boost the speed, agility, Pyro Ball, Trailblaze, or not Pyro Ball, agility, Flame Charge, Trailblaze. Pyro Ball obviously is a great stab option. And we have priority with Sucker Punch. I think it's never a bad thing to have priority. And, especially with the Libero, we get like a little boost. And we can also be like a setup sweeper with Sword Stance, and potentially like if we want to be Prody or Libero, we can do Sword Stance double-edged shenanigans. If we don't, we can always just stay with Blaze and click Sword Stance boosted Pyro Balls and other coverage. So that is the Cinderace pick. I think it's a great option for us, and it's a returning championship member, I believe. And up next, I really wanted to, like I said, get something that really punishes the steel types and also just some special offense. So if you guys want to guess what that is, I'll let you guess. It is actually Latios. So another super dynamic threat. Latios is also pretty fast at the 110 base speed tier, which, give me 2 Pokemon most weeks that can outspeed 90% of my opponent's team. There might be something faster than Cinderace, but it's not often that they'll have, something faster than Cinderace, and then also another thing that's between Cinderace and Latios. So there's obviously a few Pokemon that exist like that, but we got some nice speed option. Latios also adds our momentum core with the flip turn to pair with Cinderace. It can drop some strong Dracos, can click the buffed Luster Purge. It's something to keep in mind that Luster Purge's PP isn't the highest thing in the world, but it's an excellent user of any choice item, other than Band, I guess, but Choice Scarf, Choice Specs, and with Trick, it'll be a useful way to, manage our opponent's threats. It has some solid utility options as well, and then it can also be a great setup threat with Calm Mind or Agility in the late game. So yeah, Latios, I think, is a pretty solid pickup for the team, and I think synergizes really well and can really get in Great Tusk on things that Great Tusk wants to be in on. So that is my Latios pick. So up next, a little bit of a wait between rounds. I started trying to plan my team out and decided round 4 was time for Primarina. This was a mon that I was looking at in the NCP, and one that I also think fits great here. It adds another momentum piece, this time a little bit slower, but can get in our threats. What comes in on Primarina, potentially steel types, potentially grass types. Great core with Cinderace, and the strong bulky water. I really like the fact that Primarina does output a lot of damage. It can also run more offensive some weeks, while being a great defensive piece when I need it to be. And so Primarina I thought was kind of a no-brainer pick for me. I think it synergizes super well offensively and defensively with this squad. We don't really have any major weaknesses to this point. We got like a couple of Pokemon with common resistances, but also a couple of Pokemon with common weaknesses, but we resist most of those types that we need to. So you could see a little bit potentially like of a ground weakness brewing. Just because I don't have like a true ground resist, and Latios is like an immunity, but Great Tusk can usually beat most opposing grounds. So up next, there's one Pokemon that I think is worth drafting no matter what. You cannot stop me from drafting this. Jirachi. This is our one repeat member between BBR and NCP. I just think Jirachi offers so much to any given team. It's such a good enabler with like Stealth Rocks and Screens and Healing Wish. Healing Wish allows you to play some matchups like super freely, live fast, especially with my Great Tusk. Giving that a second life could potentially be game altering, especially like, let's say Great Tusk doesn't want to Terra until it's like almost too late. We can Healing Wish it up, and then Great Tusk can fulfill a completely different role down the line. So that was my pick of Jirachi. I think I wanted a secondary rocker because Great Tusk really doesn't want to run it too often, so being able to run that reliably on Jirachi is nice. This is now our 4th straight momentum user, which I think is, don't necessarily need to be like draft player herd or click momentum button, but in this team, we have a lot of offense, and now we can finally, like, these last 2 picks have been like solid defensive pivots to really fall back on. So that is the Jirachi pick for the squad. Up next, I was planning on how to get a team that I would work, but ultimately I decided, I kind of logically deduced one of the two Pokemon that I wanted were going to get sniped, and one of them I valued as more core to my draft league strategy for this team, and that was the Overquill. Overquill was a Pokemon that I really spammed when it came out. I thought it was a great Pokemon. It did exactly what I would call on it to do every given time that I wanted it. So being able to be a bulky poison, what I was looking for was a, fighting wasn't too much of an issue with Primarina. With Latios, Great Tusk can often help out with fighting types, so I didn't necessarily think that I needed a poison that was resistant to it, but I did want a grounded poison. And a dark type is, I think, pretty nice to have on this team. Just, we have Jirachi for a lot of those psychics, but Ghost is a bit of an issue, and I really wanted to dissuade Terra Ghost options from happening. Now, I do still think that Overquill isn't necessarily the most sturdy Ghost answer, but I think overall it's going to be a pretty good option at dissuading Terra Ghost. It gives me really good hazards in the form of spikes and toxic spikes. It gives solid damage options with Crunch, Gunk Shot, can potentially be like a Swift Swim set as a win con some weeks. I think that's a great option for Overquill, and gives decent priority with Aqua Jet. I think it's always nice. I'll always shout out my priority users whenever I pick them up. I guess I didn't shout out Primarina's Aqua Jet, but, it has it. And then, I figured Overquill did exactly what I needed it to do. And the next pick that I wanted was Dragonite. And Dragonite I thought would be a, super good option, because I was feeling like, one secondary fighting check would be nice, so Primarina didn't have to worry about doing that in certain weeks, or Great Tusk wouldn't have to be forced into that role. And the double Dragon Core is how I won the last iteration of BBR, so I think it'd be like a nice callback to do that again. But ultimately I decided Overquill was more integral to my team, and Kason ended up taking the Dragonite, which is exactly where I figured it would go. So I'm happy with this team overall. And my decision to take Overquill. In the next pick, I actually get my secondary Terra Captain, being Jolteon. And now Jolteon, I think, is a pretty solid Terra user. It's an elite speed tier. I said earlier on there might be a few Pokemon faster than Cinderace. There are very few Pokemon faster than Jolteon. And with the Terra, I was able to just barely get under the Terra tax threshold of 28. I was exactly at 28, so I thought it was, a sign that Terra Jolteon would be a great pick. Shout out Bash. Bash, I know, is a super big Terra Jolteon fan. And I really liked what it offered, because it doesn't necessarily need to Terra, but given the fact that no matter what, if I need an electric immunity, if I really want to Terra my Great Tusk, I'll at least have another electric immunity, which I thought was nice, without needing to double up on the ground typing. And obviously Jolteon is a great offensive user of Terra. It can potentially do it a little bit defensively, but usually you're looking at like an offensive Terra Ice, get through the grounds, get through the dragons that resist your electric stab. Now we have Alluring Voice to get through some dragons, but it's still always nice to have that Terra option on my Jolteon. And so this is what we're working with as our secondary Terra Captain for the season. And I still think we are a bit weak to ground, but I have a plan for that in my next pick, Slitherwing. I know it's an awesome Pokemon, but I have not had the chance to try it out yet. We are double fighting on this team. I think that is fine. Slitherwing offers a ground resist and a fighting resist that I think no real other Pokemon on the board was offering us at this point. It has great status options, can run like Stun Spore, can run Will-O-Wisp to like control the opponents. Good recovery in Morning Sun, and forces a lot of prep with First Impression. There are a lot of Pokemon that really aren't the bulkiest, that might need to run Protect to, not get their sweep stopped by Slitherwing. Shout out that alliteration right there. And I think that it'll be a great addition to this team. And I've been prepping my week 1 game, and just like this top 8, you can see we have 4 points left. The last Pokemon don't necessarily matter, but I was just like going through the draft board after this top 8, and I was like, I think that we might have the best top 8 in the league. Granted, we did not leave ourselves a lot of points for the final Pokemon, but nobody really did. And so up next, I picked Blossom. Blossom is here for literally one matchup, and that is for the Ogerpon Wellspring. We did not have the best Ogerpon Wellspring matchup, and potentially I didn't want to have to tear up my Great Tusk to grass, you know? Maybe I still will, but that was in my mind when I picked Blossom, was one check to one specific threat that I did not fight well, and I think that is overall a great way to handle my last picks. And then I went with Dunsparce as my last option. Another rocker, realistically. It's not going to do that much this season, but it kind of fits boxes. And I think there was one specific matchup. I don't remember what exactly it was, but there was one matchup where I was like, damn, Dunsparce looks pretty good here. So yeah, that is my squad. I hope you guys will stick with me for the season. And comment below which Pokemon you are most excited to see put in work. And I can potentially, let me actually run through our schedule for the season real quick. I have to just pull that up. It is a 9-week schedule, and we started off week 1 going up against Q, then Emil, and for that Emil battle, I've talked to Zooch, so we'll be getting a team building with Zooch for that Emil battle. D-Double, week 3, then It's one of my good friends, D-Ray, and then coming up from the D-League, we got all 3 of them, Hunky, A12, and Who. So that'll be a pretty awesome schedule, if I do say so myself. So yeah, hopefully we are able to go positive, far more than positive, and really make playoffs. Especially it would be great if we made playoffs and could make it all the way back and win the championship. So I hope you guys enjoyed my BBR run, and just as a reminder, this will be going up Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. So I will see you guys next time. Peace.